Applied Teaching Topics, Basic Laws of Word Learning, Module 3, Unit 1. So how many words are there in the English language? The answer is, depending on how you count, anywhere between 100,000 and 1,000,000 words. That's like giant waves and waves of words crashing down on you. Now, big waves of words, right? If I tried to ride that giant wave, I'd be dead. It's too big and it's too hard for me. The same way, I can't remember, even as a native speaker, I cannot remember 1,000,000 words. It's like a giant wave of words. I can't ride those words. I can't learn 1,000,000 words. And English language learners also have this same problem. They get hit with waves and waves of words. So how do we deal with all of this vocabulary? How do we deal with it? My name is Professor Joseph Polchak, and this is Elemental Linguistics. So one problem that learners have, especially here where I teach in Japan, is that they try to learn the wrong words first. They try to learn the big words first. And when I say big, I mean rare words. These are words like exasperate, digress, abstain, and torment. Words that might be found on big entrance exams, for example. So the exams push the learners to learn these rare words first. And they're the wrong words to learn first. They're important words, but it's not right to learn them first. At the same time, students probably may not know words that are very common, like some, or bid, or permission, and oh. So in order for us to know what to do about vocabulary learning, we need to know how words work. So here's one basic point about how words work. We meet a small number of words very often. There's a small number of words, about 2,000 words, that we meet very often. We call these words high-frequency vocabulary, high-frequency words, or simply the top words. So we meet a small number, about 2,000 words, very often. We meet these words very often. We also need to know that at the same time, we meet a large number of words very rarely. So this large number of words, which start at about 2001 in word ranking all the way up to 100,000 or 1,000,000, we meet them very rarely. We call these words low-frequency vocabulary. These two rules are very important in understanding how vocabulary works. Let's look at this rare word, snafu. Do you know the word snafu? There was a big snafu during the election this year. It means chaos, a mess, right? So you might read even 1,000,000 words before you meet the word snafu, even once. So let's look at a chart to see how vocabulary works in these orders of frequency. This is from Rob Waring, my colleague, 2007, and it shows examples of words on different frequency bands. So the word like is ranked at number 50 as the 50th most common word in English, intent as 1,500, stumble as 2,000, and relativity as 10,000. Let's just look at like. It's ranked number 50. To meet it once, you hear or listen to about 225 words. To meet it 10 times, you need to only listen to or read about 2,500, 2,200 words. The magic number is 10 because if you meet a word 10 times, you'll probably learn it incidentally. Drop all the way down to 10,000 and you see that to meet relativity, one time you need to read or listen to about 630,000 words. To meet it 10 times, you need to read about 6,000,000 words. So the key point here, basic laws of vocabulary, is that we meet a very small number of words, the top 2,000 words, a lot, and we meet a very large number of words, those low-frequency words, we meet them very rarely. And this brings up the question of coverage. Coverage, your vocabulary coverage. With the top 2,000 words, your word power covers 80 to 85% of what English speakers use. So if you're an English teacher, your students, if they know the top 2,000 words with the top 2,000 words, their word power covers 80 to 85% of what English speakers use. And after the top 2,000 words, our learners only get small gains in coverage. Now notice, with coverage, it differs between spoken and written texts. But let's just look at how coverage works in this chart adapted from Paul Nation's book, What Should Every EFL Teacher Know? So the top 2,000 words give you about 80 85% coverage. So with the top 2,000 words, your word power covers 80 to 85% of all the words that English speakers use all the time. Then we're going to go to the top 3,000, and all of a sudden you only get a very small increase in percentage. And as it goes up, the percentages increase very little. If you go all the way down to like the ninth band, the 9,000 level band, if you know the top 9,000 words, it covers 94.05% of what English speakers use. Then you add the 10th, and you get just a teeny increase. So the big core of vocabulary is at the top 2,000 words. And this is a basic law of vocabulary that it's good for learners and teachers to know, the idea of coverage. So there's a chart that shows how coverage works. So the basic rule is learn the top words first. And Paul Nation, in his book, What Should Every EFL Teacher Know, says there is little point in learning other vocabulary if high-frequency words are not known. So if a learner doesn't know the top 2,000 words, he or she should not spend time learning mid-frequency or low-frequency words. There's little point in doing that because there's too many gaps in the most basic vocabulary that learners need. So the key point is learn the top words first. After learners learn the top words first, what's next? Well, the next thing is the mid-frequency vocabulary. And Nation, in his book, What Should Every EFL Teacher Know, suggests that mid-frequency vocabulary does not deserve teaching in class. We should not teach mid-frequency vocabulary in class, not waste time in class doing it. Why? Because these words are not frequent enough, not common enough. So, if we're not going to teach students mid-frequency vocabulary in class, what should we do? Well, we should deal only briefly with mid-frequency words in class when they come up, and we should set goals and monitor classes so that students can learn mid-frequency words on their own, right? So the student on their own can work on the top 3,000 words, like 2001 to 3,000, and then 3001 to 4000, etc., using word cards. So teachers can monitor this process, help students set up a plan or a system for learning these words, but we don't want to spend time in class with the mid-frequency vocabulary words. And one system that we can teach our students is called the LEITNER system, from the German journalist Sebastian Leitner. He thought up this system of word learning. So we could teach the students a learning system called the LEITNER system. With the LEITNER system, we use word cards using retrieval, spacing, and interleaving. So with retrieval, you know how it works, right? There's the word you want to learn on the card on your English and the translation on one side. So for example, I used this example before. If you want to learn the word hope in Japanese, you'd write hope on one side of the card and then the Japanese translation on the other kibo. And retrieval, you try to recall the answer without looking at it. That's retrieval. With spacing, I'll show you here with these cards, basically with these cards in these boxes. With spacing, you wait till forgetting starts, and then you try to recall it again. And with interleaving, basically you shuffle the words around. So let's look at how the LEITNER system works. Answer correctly and move the card to the next box, and answer incorrectly and see what happens. So I take the word kibo, right? And I answer it correctly, I move it to this next box. If I get it right again, after some space, I move it to the next box, and so on. If I make a mistake, in one way of using the LEITNER system is I send it all the way back to the first box. So this is one basic way to use the LEITNER system. I get the word correct, I move it to a new box. I get the word correct again, I move it to a new box. If I make a mistake, I send it back to the beginning. And the boxes sort of represent space of time when forgetting starts. Again, interleaving is the idea of shuffling the cards so that we don't remember them in an order. So this is one technique, one tool that we can teach our students as they know about the laws of vocabulary learning, and so that they can learn the mid-frequency words on their own using a system. So that is all I have today about the laws of vocabulary learning and teaching. Thank you for listening.